Hello and welcome to another financial analysis video with myself, Moeed Amin, and Ted Wayman. The goal for this show is to help you raise your business acumen and your financial analysis and understanding. If you are in the world of business, then you need to be able to speak the language of business, which is finance. And that's the purpose for the show, which is to help you do so by analyzing the financial statements of well-known companies. So today we're going to be looking at Porsche. So Porsche, quite a well-known brand, I hope, and I hope everyone watching this knows who Porsche is and the company, but essentially they manufacture, they're a German company, they manufacture high-end sports cars, four-wheel drives, etc. Basically at the high end. Used to be fully owned and private by Volkswagen, and recently went IPO on the 29th of September in 2022 at a valuation of $72 billion or 79 billion euros. And we're going to analyze some of the financials. Stick around because there's some unusual things which Ted is going to share around the finances and the share price as well, which we looked at online. Quite unusual, so we'd like to hear from all our viewers as well, and do share in the comments below. But we'll come on to that later on. A couple of things to note. One main thing to note, which is the share price has fluctuated a bit in the last few days, of course, or since the IPO. It has gone down. Now, something to note, we're not going to talk about this in detail, but it's worth you knowing. There are some what's called green shoe options. Now, these are essentially what's baked into the underwriting agreement of when a company goes IPO. What that basically means is there's an over provisioning of the stock, right? So if you have 1 million shares, you might have an underwriting agreement of 1,100,000 shares, for example. And what that basically means is that the underwriter can actually sell some of the extra stock if demand is high and if more people want to buy it. And what this tends to do is tends to rebalance the price of the stock as well. So it's also used as a protection mechanism as well. So worth noting, because you might see some references about that when you're searching about Porsche stock, and it's just worth kind of talking about that. But we're not going to go into this into too much detail. That's not the purpose for the show. The purpose for the show is to actually help you analyze financial statements and therefore raise your financial acumen. So let's dive straight in, Ted, and share with our viewers some unusual things around the finances and our search for the numbers as well.
So good to see you, Moeed, and welcome back to all of our subscribers. If you are new, then welcome to the channel, and please do become a subscriber. So click on the subscribe button. Don't forget to like and share the video. So as Moeed said, we are going to have a look at Porsche, and my take is it's always from a financial analysis. I like to read the numbers. Sometimes I'm not an expert in the industry. I'm not an expert in Porsche. I don't own a Porsche. But just trying to get my head around these numbers, it's really odd. So this is their annual report and accounts. This is available on their website. And if you look at their annual report and accounts, you get lots of pretty pictures and lots of kind of information about the company, which is all well and good. But we like to have a look at proper audited financial statements. And when we get down to the financial statements of Porsche, here is the income statement, and the income statement basically tells me nothing. The income statement says, oh, look, I've got a whole lot of investments and I'm generating an income from those investments. Well, that's kind of like, and there you go. There's your profit after tax. Now, it's a pretty healthy profit. It's 4.5 billion euros, but that tells me nothing about the company in terms of its operating expenses, its structure, its gross margins, or anything like that. Why not? Why wouldn't the company actually give me this information? So I really don't understand that. And when we go into the balance sheet, we want to see the strength of the balance sheet. What do we see? We see a company with basically just, a big investment. That's all it is. That's the only thing sitting there. There's a little bit of cash sitting there, and the rest is just an investment in, I don't know, I guess it's an investment in the sort of the various different elements. And then on the bottom side, you've basically got, it's all funded through this retained earnings. So Porsche, they're giving me no information at all, which I find really, really frustrating. And I still don't understand why a company, certainly a company that is coming to market, why they don't produce a set of audited results. Because quite frankly, unless you let me open up the bonnet, and this is kind of metaphorical, but maybe it's a good analogy for Porsche. If I'm buying a second-hand Porsche, if you say to me, you can buy the car, but we can't look in under the bonnet, I'm not going to buy it, because I want to see the engine. I want to be able to see how it's actually performing, as well as whether it looks nice and shiny on the outside. So that's kind of my, my little rant about Porsche. And exactly the same way that, if you look at their half-year results, you get exactly the same information. So half-year results, you can whiz through lots of, great sort of, pictures and words and all the rest of it. But when you get through to the financials, again, you're none the wiser. We are, literally having this kind of this single, investment income, and we are being given, so here's our income statement. We get the results from accounted at equity. You can see for a half year, it's doing pretty well. Looks like it's going to beat last year in terms of the full year. But again, there's no information behind it. There's no additional information. And the same with the balance sheet. It just tells me they've got a whole lot of investments there. Now, quite interesting. So I did do a little bit of research. I don't usually kind of, dig around, but I did do a little bit of research. I came across these guys on Seeking Alpha, Porsche IPO, what you need to know. So, now Porsche is expected to conclude an IPO. It did actually do that IPO. That's why I wanted to have a look at it. This isn't a recommendation. I suddenly thought, hold on, we'll have a look at this. They sold 2,000 cars at an average a price of that's actually $100,000 each. And it talks about EBITDA multiple. It's a 75 billion. This individual says that they are a buyer. I think this is Cavendish Research. They talk about bringing Porsche public on Thursday, etc., etc. They talk about the value, and then they talk about a little bit about a background and some of the numbers. And then they talk about this complex post-IPA holding structure, and I suddenly thought, and it really is complicated. And you kind of go through that, and you start to lose the will to live, and think, what I don't understand is they're not giving me the financials. It's really complicated. Value, how do you get to the valuation? He gives or this individual gives their kind of opinion on how they kind of, how to value it. I'm very cautious investing in IPOs, they say, and so am I, especially if I can't actually see the numbers. So, bearing that in mind, if we actually go and look at the share price. Now, this again, Moe, this is Fox, both you and me, is that if a company is just floated, why are we seeing the kind of share price ever since, 1998? Now, this, interestingly enough, this is the short squeeze going on following the global financial crisis. There was a big short squeeze where the company then effectively became very, very profitable. So what I don't understand is, what we're looking at here. This is Porsche Automobile Holdings. This is the ticker. It's got a big history, but it's only just floated. So, and maybe that's to do with this complex holding structure. I don't know what it is. They've got a PE ratio. It's a very low PE ratio, which suggests that it's a very cheap share. But you know what, the market cap 8.75 billion. Well, it just says that it floated at north of 75 billion. So I don't know quite what we're looking at here. So I guess the point is, Moe, that it's possible to make it easier for us as investors. Now, maybe they don't want us as investors. Maybe they only want the institutional guys who have all the kind of the Bloomberg screens and all the information at their fingertips. But these guys, as far as I'm concerned, they're hiding information. If they're not hiding it, they're certainly not making it public on their website. In which case, I'm out. And that's kind of that's me in a nutshell for Porsche. And if I've got any viewers out there who've got that kind of that insight, who know where to find the financials, maybe I'm looking in the wrong place. And if I am looking in the wrong place, I'm looking in the place where everybody else looks. So, I don't know. There you go, Moe. That's my rant for today. So apologies for those of you who thought we were going to get a kind of a real insight into Porsche. I have no idea what's going on in this company.
It's an interesting one and relatively short video, but it's important, right? Because there will be times as an investor or salesperson, or even someone that's looking, having an interview with these guys, and you want to sound smart, there are times when you're not going to find the detailed financial analysis, right? But hopefully with all the other videos that we've done in the past, you will have a very smart approach and an experienced approach to finding the information you need and drawing some context and some conclusions for that. But here we go. We're still going to be able to help you. Don't get me wrong, right? So here's how we're going to help you. We've analyzed 2 other companies within the industry that I think if you look at what they're doing, then you can draw better conclusions, even with the sporadic information that we have about Porsche, and learn more about them. So the 2 companies that we've analyzed are BMW, and we've also analyzed Aston Martin as well. So have a look at their finances, because it will give you an industry contextual understanding of what to look for in Porsche when and if you find those numbers as well. So we're still going to be able to help you there. It's really important to look at other companies within the industry to draw some analysis about how they are performing compared with them. So that's our video for today. Hope you found this useful. Do, as Ted said, like, share, subscribe, leave a note in the comment section. This particular video was not a request, but about 98% of our videos are. So if you'd like us to analyze a company that you're interested in, leave a note in the comment section and put some context or reason as to why you're interested in that company. The more interesting the reason, the higher up the priority list your request will be. So until the next video, thank you, Ted. Thank you, everyone else.
Catch you later, Moe.